Alright, let's dive into the script. Have you ever felt like you've met someone and instantly, inexplicably, everything clicks? Like you've known them for a lifetime, and the world just seems to shimmer a little brighter when they're around? That, my friends, is the intoxicating pull of intense connection, a powerful force that can shape our lives in profound ways. This video explores the complexities of this feeling and its potential impact on our relationships. We begin with the initial spark, intense connection and fascination. It's that almost electric feeling of being drawn to someone, a magnetic pull that you can't quite explain. You find yourself captivated by their every word, gesture, and expression. Time seems to melt away when you're together, and the mundane aspects of life fade into the background. Remember that person you met that instantly got your attention and made you feel alive? Maybe it was their smile or their intelligence that captivated you, or even the smell of their perfume. Whatever the reason, that feeling of fascination is the beginning of a potentially very interesting journey. Then, there is the stage of idealization of each other. Suddenly, this person becomes your everything and you begin to see them through rose-tinted glasses. You focus on their positive qualities, often overlooking their flaws or imperfections. You begin to build them up in your mind, creating an idealized version of who they are. It's like falling head over heels in a movie, exciting, romantic, and all-consuming. You might start to think this person is the perfect person for you. This is very common and makes for an exciting start to a relationship. But wait, there's a catch. Next, we address the blurred boundaries. As the connection deepens, the lines between you and the other person begin to blur. Your thoughts, feelings, and experiences become intertwined. You might find yourself anticipating their needs, finishing their sentences, or feeling their pain as if it were your own. This can feel incredibly intimate and validating. One example of this is losing track of what is yours versus what is theirs. You may start thinking of the other person's problems as your own. It can be challenging to tell where one person begins and the other ends. This stage can be dangerous to emotional well-being. Now here's where it gets interesting: the potential for deception or illusion. Idealization can pave the way for deception. The person you've put on a pedestal might not be the person they appear to be. They could be intentionally or unintentionally presenting a false image of themselves. This can take the form of manipulation or lies. Or it may come down to just miscommunication or misunderstandings. This can create a world where the truth is difficult to discern. Think of a con artist who perfectly crafts an identity to deceive others. This scenario is very common and can have a devastating effect. And what about the dreamy and romantic relationship? At its best, this intense connection manifests as a truly dreamy and romantic experience. There's a sense of magic, a feeling that anything is possible. You share secrets, dreams, and vulnerabilities, building a deep and profound bond. Remember that time you felt completely in love with someone, and it felt like the most incredible thing you'd ever felt? Every moment is filled with laughter, adventure, and unwavering support. This phase can be a beautiful experience, but it's not without its challenges. Further on, sensitivity and empathy. With that dreamy relationship comes incredible empathy. You intuitively understand each other's needs and feelings, even without words. You become deeply attuned to each other's emotions, offering comfort and support without hesitation. This connection fosters a sense of safety and belonging. When your partner feels joy, you feel joy, and when they hurt, you hurt. It's like a dance where you anticipate each other's steps and move in perfect harmony. Another thing to consider is creative and spiritual compatibility. This intense connection often extends to a shared understanding of the world, encompassing creative pursuits and spiritual beliefs. You might find yourselves drawn to the same forms of art, music, or literature. You might share a similar worldview or engage in spiritual practices together. This alignment strengthens your bond and allows for deeper levels of understanding. Let's say you start sharing the same passions and interests. This happens a lot when two people are in sync. But wait, How about this? Can this lead to confusion or disillusionment? The flip side of this beautiful, idealized connection is the potential for confusion and disillusionment. As time passes, the rose-tinted glasses can begin to fade, and you might start to see the imperfections you once overlooked. The person you thought you knew might reveal a different side, and the magic might start to wear off. This can lead to feelings of disappointment, hurt, and betrayal. The initial, heady feelings of infatuation give way to something different. Did you ever think you found the perfect person only to realize that they were just a person? Which brings us to the need for clear communication and boundaries. To navigate these complexities, clear communication and healthy boundaries are essential. You must be able to express your needs, desires, and concerns openly and honestly. You need to respect each other's individuality and create space for each other's growth. Setting boundaries helps protect your emotional well-being and prevents the relationship from becoming overly codependent. This can be easier said than done. Now consider the risk of codependency or emotional manipulation. One of the most significant dangers of intense connection is the risk of codependency or emotional manipulation. The blurred boundaries and intense emotional connection can create a situation where one person relies on the other for their sense of self-worth and validation. This can lead to unhealthy patterns of behavior, such as enabling, people-pleasing, and controlling behavior. The first person may want to control the second one. This can lead to one person taking advantage of the other. This can be very dangerous and may require therapy. Now, let's pause for a moment and consider, have you ever experienced an instant connection with someone? What were the positive aspects, and what were the challenges? Let me know in the comments below. And how do you think boundaries are important in relationships? Also, is it ever possible to avoid idealization completely? These are some things to consider. Now, I'm going to share a quick story with you. Mid-video tease. I'm sure we've all had experiences that are very similar to these, whether in romantic relationships or friendships. The goal is to protect yourself while being open to connection. I hope you are finding this video valuable, so far. The story: I once knew a couple who met at a retreat. They were immediately inseparable, finishing each other's sentences and feeling as though they'd known each other for ages. They shared deep, intimate secrets early on, and both were convinced they'd found their soulmate. For a while, it was a dream. But slowly, cracks started to appear. One person began to feel suffocated by the intensity, while the other felt insecure and dependent. Their blurred boundaries led to arguments, and their initial idealization gave way to disappointment. Eventually, the relationship ended in a painful breakup, proving that these connections are rarely a fairy tale. So, how can you navigate these intense connections in a healthy way? It starts with self-awareness. Understand your own needs, desires, and vulnerabilities. Recognize your patterns and triggers. Then, prioritize clear communication. Talk openly and honestly with the other person about your feelings, expectations, and boundaries. Be willing to compromise and negotiate. And finally, seek help when needed. If you're struggling with codependency, emotional manipulation, or other unhealthy patterns, don't hesitate to seek professional help from a therapist or counselor. They can provide guidance and support. Remember, intense connection can be a beautiful and transformative experience, but it can also be challenging and complex. By understanding the potential pitfalls and adopting healthy practices, you can navigate these relationships with greater awareness, resilience, and ultimately, create lasting, fulfilling connections. In conclusion, intense connections can feel like a whirlwind of emotions. Embrace the good parts and proceed carefully. Make sure you communicate and don't lose yourself in the process. You'll create happier, healthier relationships. Now, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from this information. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'll be covering more relationship and self-improvement topics very soon. Also, if you want more content from me, be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.